Hello and welcome to A Mindful Moment. I'm Justin Epstein, author of the top-selling book Super You and minister of the Unity Center of New York City. We're continuing our study of Eckhart Tolle's book The Power of Now, and in chapter 1 we're looking at the section Enlightenment Rising Above Thought. And someone asked this question: I don't want to lose my ability to analyze and discriminate. I wouldn't mind learning to think more clearly in a more focused way, but I don't want to lose my mind. The gift of thought is the most precious thing we have. Without it, we would just be another species of animal. Interesting question, right? Eckhart Tolle says, the predominance of mind is no more than a stage in the evolution of consciousness. We need to go on to the next stage now as a matter of urgency. Otherwise, we will be destroyed by the mind, which has grown into a monster. I will talk about this in more detail later. Thinking and consciousness are not synonymous. Thinking is only a small aspect of consciousness. Thought cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness does not need thought. That is pretty neat, I think. So we value the thinking. Why? Because we've been saying that it's because we're so identified with the mind, we're so identified with our thinking. We have difficulty living in the now because our thoughts are, our mind is thinking about the past or the future. That's what keeps the mind going and the thoughts going. And what we're seeking to do is live in the present moment where we can tune into our spiritual essence of joy and peace and enjoy our lives now, right? So he says that the predominance of the mind is just a stage in the evolution of consciousness, that there's something beyond thinking. I mean, you and I grew up where education is important and, try to go to college and et cetera, filling our mind with information and facts and knowledge. And all that's important. He's not saying it isn't. But that's one stage in evolution. We've let the mind become a monster, he's talking about. And there's something beyond thinking. Consciousness is beyond thinking. Descartes, the philosopher, said, I think, therefore I am. Not exactly accurate. No, you are, therefore you think. You are not your brain, you're not your thoughts. You are pure consciousness living in a body with a brain that thinks, right? So right now we made the mind and the brain and the thinking predominant in our culture and our way of living and being, letting the mind run away with us. And he's saying thinking and consciousness are not synonymous. Now, if you're a meditator or you've engaged in regular prayer or some quiet time, you've probably experienced where your brain got really very still, maybe even stopped, and you were still very alert. You were very awake and alert. That was beyond thought. See, your consciousness is not synonymous with thinking. There is a level of experience, consciousness beyond thought. He says thought cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness does not need thought. So our thinking is a level of consciousness. But what he's saying is we need to evolve beyond just being so reliant, so identified with thinking, and tune in more often to just that pure consciousness that is independent of thinking. And I would say let's think about that a little while, all right? Let's keep that in mind now. And realize, wow, all this identification with the mind, it's just a stage of evolution. There's something more. It's time to move to the next level, which is to be more in tune with consciousness and using the brain and thinking as an instrument, not letting it run havoc. And I find this interesting. And so next time we're going to talk more about tuning into the creative part of the mind. So thanks for joining me for this mindful moment, and I look forward to seeing you. And if you have any comments, please put them below. I'm interested in reading your comments, your thoughts, your questions. So I'll see you next time for another mindful moment. Thank you for joining me for a mindful moment. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more mindful moments as they go live. Click above for a list of previous mindful moments to enjoy on your own time, anytime.